Great story in Blaze Media today. When Donald Trump's strongest voting bloc starts to fall off after 6 months of a largely successful second term, it's time for some soul searching. Not just because the midterms loom or because 2028 is already on the horizon, but the demographic in question, young men, will shape, defend, and lead this country well beyond the next election. If they've grown too cynical to bother, the rest of us are going to be left holding the bag. When the past and the present betray a generation, expect that generation to reshape the future. Today's young men are angrier, more cynical, more disruptive, and more serious. They don't want to save Social Security. They want to be saved from it. They aren't starting out wide-eyed like the boomers. They didn't get the luxury of being idealists first and realists later. They started with realism forged by debt, disillusionment, and betrayal. These young men want a way of life back. They want accountability for the people who stole it from them. This is something we have been talking about on this program. If we do not hold people accountable, we are in deep trouble. You lose the republic. The average 25-year-old white male is already more based than his Republican voting grandfather ever was or could be. And he's not finding any comfort in Fox News. So the question is, will anyone offer him a white pill before he plants the flag of, I just don't care anymore, at the 50-yard line of American life? This generation will not follow unless they're given a mission worth sacrificing for. Trump's brand won't carry them forever. They can't afford homes. They can't find wives who aren't steeped in feminist dogma. They can't compete in a DEI-rigged job market. And now they're expected to watch the people who ruined their future skate without any consequence. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Young men don't just want slogans. They want justice. They want our leaders to treat domestic traitors at least as ruthlessly as we've treated our allies in trade negotiations. They've seen enough memes. If the memes don't end in prison time, they'll see them as mockery. They want consequences, and they wanted them handed out with severe prejudice. That's the instinct of men who have been cornered too long. Dread it, run from it, because it is coming. When the past and present betray a generation, expect that generation to reshape the future. Our shot at shaping that future is now, and if we fail to hold the deep state accountable yet again, then we better produce an economic boom big enough to distract from the urge to burn everything down. We've convinced ourselves that soft, passive men define the modern male, but sooner or later, the animal comes raging back, and a new generation rises looking to settle old scores. You better get ready. That's from The Blaze today, and it is an excellent piece, well-written and spot on. So let me talk directly to any young man who might be listening right now, because I see this in my son. You have been lied to over and over and over again. Not once, not twice, but since the day you were born, you've been lied to. You were lied to about what it even means to be a man. Lied to about what's good, lied to about truth itself. You have been told that masculinity is dangerous. And in some ways, it is. I'll get into that in here a second. They told you it had to be tamed, medicated, and deconstructed. They told you you can't follow your instincts. You're not here to protect or provide. You're not here to lead. You're told, sit down, shut up, memorize these dates and names that mean nothing in real life, and just follow the rules. Remember, this will be on the test. And these are the same rules that you watched break your parents. You watched them. You saw how your country and your future was hollowed out in bankruptcy. You know what I mean. You saw the look on your father's face and in his eyes in 2008 when everything he worked for was just wiped out. You saw your mom do twice the work and still come up short. And then somehow or another, they saved up enough to send you off to school. And they told you it was for an education because they believed that. But that wasn't an education. They were reprogramming you. They taught you how to protest, how to self-diagnose, how to beg for safe spaces instead of building strength. They trained you for cubicles, for conveyor belts, not for mountains, not for missions, not for meaning. None of those came into play. And now people wonder why the youth is discouraged, why the 20-somethings, while the males are discouraged, why they feel like just giving up, why so many 20-somethings and teenagers are just checking out, kill themselves, or kill others. I wonder why. I wonder why. This society hasn't given them anything to live for. Nothing has meaning. Well, let me tell you the truth that they never will. You were born for something more, a lot more. And deep in your bones, you know it. There has to be more than this. Because if this is all there is, what a colossal waste of time and energy. I wouldn't want it either. But here's the truth. The truth is, you were born for a reason. You were made to push boundaries, to defend the weak, to build, to risk, to sweat, to suffer for something greater than yourself. You know, nothing in life worth having comes easy. And you have had that lie told you over and over again. Just do these things and you'll make it. No. Nothing is easy. They tell you that lie, and then they encourage you to give up. Don't. You were made to take that fire in your chest and turn it into something, into purpose. And yes, they were right about one thing. Man is to be feared. For a couple of reasons. There is a beast inside of you. Everybody has one. Men have a monster. It's a destructive force that rages when life seems unfair, when justice feels like a joke, when you're taught to be powerless, to pretend that you're powerless, the world fears that part of you. Because when that beast is unleashed, especially on young men, the world knows what happens, and it is not good. But here's the other reason they fear, and they've hidden this truth. They fear you because they know if you figure out that contained, that controlled, that shaped is the most powerful thing on earth. You were not created to be a monster. You were created to master one. You weren't created to medicate that monster. You weren't created to disavow that monster, to claim it doesn't exist. You were made to tame that monster. I'm riddled with ADD. If I were your age, they would have medicated me from the beginning. And I don't think I would be doing this job. I don't even know. I have 5 screens in front of me, 6 screens, 7 screens in front of me, 8 screens in front of me, and I know what's on all of them. I can see them, and I can talk to you, and I can process that. I have somebody once in a while, Sarah will speak into my ear and say 2 minutes. I can do all of these things because I have ADD. It's a blessing. But if I were your age, they would have told me that was a curse, and I'll never make it unless I medicate. Don't medicate it. Conquer it. Tame it. It's a strength. You don't suppress these things. You discipline these things. You make the things that are inside of you serve truth. That's what you do. Once that serves truth, that's what you have, that all of a sudden you're able to protect your future wife, your children, your neighbors. The kind of strength that under control separates tyrants from heroes. Don't believe the lies that you're alone, because you're not alone. You are part of an amazing brotherhood of men all across time. that have felt the same call and the same pull both ways. But the ones who tamed that, the ones that understood, the ones that were allowed to be them, that were also told, you're not alone, you're not abnormal, this is normal in your life, but channel that. Those are the men that crossed the oceans in wooden boats. They were the ones that walked across the bloody beaches in Normandy. They were the men who picked up dead Freds at Gettysburg and still charged forward. They're the men who looked up in the sky and said, I'm going to go there. And then when they got there, they said, what's next? That's the blood of men that runs through your veins. And they were not monsters. They were not unbridled men. They were men. They were men. And you are that image bearer of truth, that vessel of strength, that defender of civilization. You were made in the image of God. You are a literal son of God. And you were born with glory and honor. Now, the question is, do you return at the end with glory and honor? But that is your birthright. And no professor, no bureaucrat, no algorithm can take any of that from you. So what now? What do you do now? Well, now you decide. And believe me, I'm an alcoholic. My mother committed suicide when I was young. I almost committed suicide. I've had suicides in my family. I've been there. I have absolutely been there and back, and then back there, and then back. It's hard. And I remember I thought, okay, I'm deciding I'm not going to drink anymore. And I am not going to end my life the way my mom did. And I made that decision on my knees down on the floor. I mean, I know exactly where I was in the room. I remember the smell of the room. I remember everything about it. But I also remember when I made that decision, I got back up. And that night I went to bed. And the next morning, I still felt like dog crap. Even though I made the decision. And it took years of holding on to that decision and deciding the same thing every day. You have two roads in front of you right now. One leads to despair, quiet, maybe comfortable, but death. And that lets the world define you. That lets fear run your life. That's you becoming passive, bitter, and numb. I've been down that road. That is not good. That's the dangerous one. To some degree. The other road is also dangerous, but not in the same way. Because this one, the road is steep. It's very lonely at times, but it leads to some place. Every time I meet a new alcoholic, somebody who has just started to give up alcohol and surrender their life and say, I'm more than this. I don't want this in my life anymore. I tell them the same thing every time. Keep going. It is so worth it. And let me explain that in 60 seconds. First, let me tell you about Relief Factor. Ever had a roommate who just won't leave? The kind of moves into your spare room for a couple of weeks, and then months later, they're still there. That's what pain does. It moves in, little tightness in the knee, stiff shoulder, maybe a sore back or whatever. At first you think, I just need a day or two to recover. And then it's been 3 months, and still the pain is ruining your life. I know pain quite well. I was probably 30. And I fell out of a 2-story window. I was doing renovations in a house, and I fell out of a 2-story window. And I was lucky to live, but my gosh, it's just never stopped. Never stopped since then. Relief Factor helps me get through those days. It's designed to target the inflammation that causes most of the aches and pains. It's a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body do what it was made to do. Fight back. No masking, no symptoms, no patches or pills. That all wears off. This is consistent, natural support to help you feel better, move better, and live better. And so many Americans have tried it, and most of them keep going with it because it works. Once that pain is out of your house, you'll do everything to keep it out. You can give their 3-week quick start a try right now for $19.95. Visit relieffactor.com or call 800-4-RELIEF. 800, the number 4, relief. 10 seconds. So the second road leads to someplace really worth going. If you take that road, you reclaim your manhood. You reclaim your life. You take ownership. You stop waiting for somebody to rescue you. You stop blaming things on everybody else, and you just start taking responsibility, and you build the kind of future, the future that you want your sons to inherit. But it takes, like everything else, an awful lot of self-education, an awful lot of self-discipline. You train for it. You stay humble. You stay grounded in truth. You build real friendships. You love fiercely. And you do the hard thing, especially when no one else is watching. Because, hear me, the world will not get better until you do. But you are not defined by your past. You're not defined by the things that restrain you. You're not defined by your obstacles. You're not limited by your pain. You're not doomed by the system you were born into. You are capable of unbelievable greatness, of leading and discovering, of healing and rebuilding. All the things that others have destroyed, that's your job. You can be the generation that finds the key to freedom again, not just politically, but spiritually, personally, culturally. You are the generation that are going to be the first people to walk on Mars. You will break chains that you don't even recognize right now. You are going to love well. You are going to have unbelievable sons and daughters. You're going to fight justly. You're going to build wisely. You're going to leave this place better than you found it, better than anything my generation could have done. So rise up as a man. The time for boyhood has passed. The time of blame is past. The time to rise up as a man is right now. Stand up and stand like a man. And having done everything you can, recognize tomorrow still might suck a little bit. But when you finally get there, it was so worth the fight. And it's still worth the fight. All you have to do is stand. Back in just a minute.
This is Glenn Beck.
NMLS 182334. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR for rates in the 5 starts at 6.799% for well-qualified borrowers. Call 800-906-2440 for details about credit costs and terms.
Jeez, look at this. Democratic governors have a fix for the party themselves. Oh, okay. When you look at your finances, do you ever feel like you're playing a game you never really agreed to join? The rules just keep changing. The goalposts keep moving constantly. And the other teams, the banks, the credit card companies, and other lenders, they already know every loophole and trap on the field. Meanwhile, you're just trying to win a little peace of mind, to get out of debt, to lower your monthly payments, to put something away for the future without having to sacrifice everything in the present. That's where American Financing comes in. And they're not some mega bank with a slick app and a stake in your confusion. They're family-owned. They're a mortgage company that actually works for you. They don't get commissions for putting you in the most expensive loan. They don't push you into a box that doesn't fit your life. Their mortgage consultants will help you refinance, consolidate debt, or find a new home loan that makes sense for your goals. You could save up to $800 a month. Call American Financing, 800-906-2440, AmericanFinancing.net.
Get the free email newsletter at glennbeck.com. It's every story we talk about every day. glennbeck.com.
Welcome to the program. A lot of comments on the opening monologue. Jordan said, "How did you know what I needed to hear? Thank you for sharing this, Glenn." CT, it's not just young men. This has been happening for a couple of decades. How did the politicians get away with this for so long? It's not just the politicians. It's all of us. It is all of us. Jay, the younger generations were sacrificed for the elderly rather than the opposite. Yes. And not the elderly. When you think of elderly, not that. Not that. Tammy, there are parents who have raised faith-filled kids. We were helicopter parents and we homeschooled. Don't let your kids be your friends. Discipline. Susie, finally, Glenn's doing a show that matters. I try every. Nathan, the human brain can perform 7 tasks at one time. That's not ADD. That's God's creation. Pat, where I work, they've hired many 20-somethings. They all want to work virtual, no work ethic. They've been brainwashed by the left. These kids have been pampered by society, and I'm tired of babying them. I want to tell them to grow up and work. Probably not the way to do it, Pat, but boy, I can relate. Mrs. Jones, I'm so grateful that you chose to be who you are. Thank you, Glenn. Prue, I like the statement, stop waiting for someone to rescue you. I know too many that want me to rescue them. I bet that is true. Is that true with women? Sarah, when you meet men you're dating, are they looking to you to rescue them or
all the time? All the time. I mean, you hit it spot on. I'm more masculine than half the men I've dated lately, which is really sad.
Or says something about you because you frighten the crap out of me and Stu. Really,
you do beat up people around the offices at times.
That doesn't mean masculine.
What does that mean? That you're more masculine than them?
I have a career. I have to take care of my kids. And to them, it's like, let's go have fun. It's still very much like in the college world. You know, when these people are 40, 50, like it's time to grow up. You nailed it.
I think that is the biggest problem. I mean, my son is, living on his own now, working, going to school. And there are times that he will call me and, Tanya was like, don't you think you're getting a little tough on him? I'm like, no, it is time to be tough. It is time to be tough. There are things that you have to say to your children and especially your sons. It's up to you now. You got to do it. And you got to do it. And there's not going to be anybody that rescues you. And he's lonely, unfortunately, now. And I feel for him because I remember those days being so lonely. But I told him, I said, son, concentrate on you, build you, find your goals, pursue your goals, climb mountains, do whatever it is. Women will be attracted to men who know who they are and know where they're going, even if they're not successful. But they know who they are and they have goals that they're trying to accomplish. I think real men, the world is your oyster. Right now is the time for real men because real women are so sick and tired of these pansies. These guys who are like, I don't know. And the ones that refuse, that are Peter Pan, refuse to grow up. It's time to grow up. It's time to grow up. And that's hard, but it's got to be said, got to be done. Has to be.
I have several written pages of questions about Sarah's dating life we'll get back to later. But
I do too. I would love to talk to the men. You know what I mean? Oh, my God.
That's a whole great series of podcasts.
That's a series.
That would be great. Wow.
Yeah.
Just if you could just try get their names, we'll get that started.
I dated Sarah once.
You brought up something to me off the air the other day, which I thought was interesting and probably leads into what you're saying here. which is, certainly 26 is a bad time to start saying, hey, adulthood's about to begin, right? But you were saying really early.
13.
Like 12, 13 years old is there should be more of that going on. What do you mean?
I don't know how to balance this. I mean, this is not obviously this is not what I studied or anything else. I'm just a guy that tried to be a good parent. I gave my kids, what I thought was best and did what I thought was best. And I think we pampered way too much. And I tried to teach them, the lessons you need to learn. And a lot of it they did. They're really good kids. They did. But I wish I would have gotten them out into the world working earlier, much, much earlier. Like
working, like some sort of responsibility.
Go clean tables. Go clean tables. Have some responsibility beyond just, mow the lawn, clean your room. And this comes from me. And look, I am a deeply screwed up guy on parenting and children and everything else because I learned from a dad who worked all the time. But that's what made me in many ways on all the good things. I understood work ethic to some degree. I still don't want to go out and dig ditches, but if I had to, I would. I mean, when Tanya met me, I was a total loser, recovering alcoholic, 2 kids, divorced. I could stop there, but had no real future in radio. I thought it was all over. I was thinking about becoming a chef, going back to culinary school and becoming, you remember these days?
I can fact check all of this.
All right,
yes, this is all accurate.
So, and I told Tanya when, we were thinking about getting married, I said, look, I could be a garbage collector. In a year, I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but if I'm a garbage collector, I'll be the best garbage man you've ever met. And none of the stuff that she experiences in life now means anything to her, really. She married me when I wouldn't have married me. Loser. Not a chance of real success. Very low chance of
Another
success.
fact check. True.
Yeah, thank you. But seriously, very low chance of success, don't you think?
What you're saying, I think is true. Certainly from her perspective, I would have definitely seen that. I think you were a talented guy. You were like a talented athlete at the time, right? Like you were like, again, not many comparisons with you and athletes, but like that. Right. That's that wide receiver who, like, you could tell should be something, but kind of isn't.
Yeah,
and then in that spot.
But then what? Mm-hmm. But what happened is when I asked her to marry me, I knew God. I knew that I had to completely surrender to him, that was truth. No matter what it was he was going to tell me to do, I would do it. And if that meant I was successful in life or not successful, I should say in business or not successful in business, it didn't matter. I would be successful in life with my family if I followed him. That was probably the biggest key. And the other was she knew I had drive in me.
Yeah.
She knew that whatever it was I was going to do, I would give my all to it. It's what I saw in my daughter's eyes when she was on stage just this last weekend. I watched her, and there wasn't 1 second of missed focus. I watched her the entire time, even when she was in the background or whatever. I was watching her the whole time. Not a second of lost focus. That is real drive. That's what makes success. Are you giving it 100%? And I mean 100%. Not just while you're on stage or in front of people, but to get there. Have you done that kind of thinking and that kind of work to get to the stage, whatever it may be? When you have that, women see that. People admire that. As long as you're not, you have to have some, outside interest in life, and you can't be a monster about it. My first half of my life, I was a monster about that because I've always had that drive, but it was misplaced because I didn't couple it with God. I'm an all or nothing guy, which is why I'm an alcoholic, but also why I'm successful.
No, yeah, you were one of the best alcoholics.
I was.
You weren't just trying it on for size.
No,
you went all in.
I went all in.
For years.
Yes.
You told liver to go to hell.
I don't care if I lose my liver and my family. I'm the best drunk out there. I love you so much, man. Yeah.
You went all in.
I went all in.
Yeah. And that's so not always a good characteristic.
Yeah.
But if you get started early and you start thinking about that drive and start thinking about that work ethic, it gets instilled in you.
I feel bad for my son right now because he is just like I was when I was his age, and that is, you'll do it, and then you'll be like, this isn't going to work, and you give up for a while, and then you get lost, and then you're like, no, what am I doing? Do it, and it's hard to master that. I mean, I was just talking to him this weekend, and I'm like, son, you just got to keep going. Just keep going. That's why I said a minute ago, when I finally surrendered and I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it. The next day sucked as much as the day was that put me on the floor on my knees. It sucked, and it sucked for a long time. But if you keep doing it, all of a sudden doors start to open, things start to happen, and your whole life changes. My dad said to me once, I don't have time to tell this story. Would you write this down? Just write down what my dad said at the stoplight, and I'll remember that, and I'll share that with you tomorrow. But it totally changed my life, and it's absolutely true, and it shows the power that you have inside of you, and it's hard to believe it, but it's absolutely true. All right, more in just a minute. Also, we're going to talk about the New York Times. Boy, they really are sorry for that horrible mistake about the starving Gazan children. And you will not believe the story they are missing today. It is first time in history, and nobody's paying attention to it. All right, let me tell you first about Cozy Earth. You've ever woken up in the middle of the night and wondered if you accidentally fell asleep inside of a crock pot? That's happened to me a lot. The sheets are hot. You're sweating. The pillow feels like it's a sauna. You flip it. You kick the covers off. You pull them back. You repeat all night. Look, sleep shouldn't be a thermal negotiation, and it absolutely is. Cozy Earth is here to try to solve that for you. Their sheets are made from remarkable material that's incredibly soft, but it breathes. The sheets actually adjust to your body temperature, so you stay cool when it's hot and comfortably warm, and when it's not. And they just don't feel nice on day one. They hold up. Wash after wash, they stay silky and strong and reliably perfect. Cozy Earth sheets have been one of Oprah's favorite things for years now. So what are you doing, man? Oprah said go out and get them. Sleep well, wake refreshed, and maybe even dream a little better. Go to CozyEarth.com and use my promo code Beck for 40% off the softest bedding, bathware, and other apparel. It's CozyEarth.com, promo code Beck. Cozy Earth, built for real life and made to keep up with yours. CozyEarth.com.
What you're hearing are your thoughts via the mind and mouth of Glenn Beck. More next.
Imagine you're about to sell your home, but just as the deal is about to go down, everything falls apart. Why? Because someone you've never met now owns your title. This isn't a movie plot. It is a real-life title theft happening quietly across America, and it's happening to way too many people. The criminals that do this don't break in. They don't use, all sorts of crowbars and break windows. That's not what they have to do. They just use AI to copy your signature and add a fake notary seal. And then they file paperwork with your country, in your country. They're usually out of your country. But they put it with whatever local office they need to, and it costs almost nothing. And the county doesn't verify it. Nobody alerts you. While you're busy with your everyday life, your home and its title slips into a stranger's hands. And once they have control of that, they can quickly borrow huge amounts of money against your home equity. They can grab your cash, they can vanish, and you're out. Whether you're selling or refinancing or whatever's going on, it's toast for the moment at least, and it's a long way back. Protect yourself right now with Home Title Lock, HomeTitleLock.com/Stu. Use the promo code Stu. You'll get a free title history report to check on your home and whether it's been compromised. Plus, you'll get the $1 million triple lock protection with continuous monitoring, instant alerts, and up to $1 million in legal help if fraud, God forbid, does hit. AI is changing the world. Don't let it change the name on your home's title. HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code is Blaze.
We were just talking off air about what we've been talking about in men and boys and how we just need to change the trajectory, or we're just going to spiral into an abyss. And one of the things Sarah just brought up was about COVID and how COVID changed all of us.
I think a lot of what men are going through with this lack of character has something to do as a tragedy of COVID, because everyone was just so in their own little world and they didn't have to do what you have to do. And I think it's important that you might not want to take a girl out on a date, you just want to have sex with them, but you kind of have to do what you don't want to do.
I put in the 15 minutes at Hardee's, right? If you want to get them in bed, you take them to Arby's.
Yeah.
Get them
drive-through. Here, what do you want?
Yeah.
Sarah, what do you want?
Get them a shake.
Here's a burger and a shake. Now, eat it quickly because we're going to have sex.
Right. Yeah.
That's what you're looking for. Yeah. That kind of.
But also, there's not really social interaction. Everybody could just sit at home and text on their phone or have a conversation.
That one is a real problem. That one is a real problem. And I think it's going to fix itself eventually, but I don't suggest you wait for it. Because when it does start to fix, it's going to be such a massive problem, and it'll scoop up the majority of people. They're just going to fall into it. They won't know how to relate to anybody else, and then machines will be relating to you. And your conversations will all be with machines. And there is human contact and human touch is so important. Looking into somebody's eyes that's why you don't find meaning, because there's no downside. You can say whatever you want. You can be rejected, and you don't have to sit there in that uncomfortable moment of rejection. That was really excruciating. Going and approaching somebody that you want to ask out or whatever, and them just looking at you like, I don't think so, was horrible. But now you can do it and say it and blow it off, and there's no emotional consequence or exhilaration.
Right. Those are basically guardrails of life, right?
Yeah.
You keep bumping into them, and it kind of sends you back toward the middle of the road, so you understand what you should be doing. That's how you learn. And I will, that's probably what it's like now. I mean, I can't even, God, I do feel for you. I'm making jokes, but I feel for the dating world. I can't even imagine doing it in this world right now. I mean,
awful.
It seems incomprehensible to me. Awful. So, your life sucks, Sarah. But what I'm saying basically is that,
and it's what's weird is the youth, they think that it is so much better than they can't even imagine the way we used to date. And we had to go approach somebody and ask them in real life. They can't even imagine that. But believe it or not, yes, that's messier. It's uglier, but that's what gives it meaning. Life only has meaning when you are conquering something, when you have earned that moment. Read Viktor Frankl's, Man's Search for Meaning. That is, if you've never read that, you need to read that. It's remarkable, and it's what we're missing in our society.
This is Glenn Beck.